pray for Terry Moran from ABC News, because that guy got totally beaten up by President Donald Trump yesterday in the Oval Office. To mark the first 100 days of President Donald Trump's presidency, his second administration, ABC News sent Terry Moran into the Oval Office to try to trip up President Donald Trump, to try to make him look bad, to ask him pointed, biased, fake news questions about things that he's accomplished over the first 100 days. And Terry Moran was not up for the task of trying to make the president seem less effective than he is. And President Donald Trump was in amazing form. He'd come right off of a rally in Michigan to celebrate his first 100 days, where he touted all of his administration's accomplishments for the United States of America.
In 100 days, we have delivered the most profound change in Washington in nearly 100 years. I read an editorial today that this is the most consequential presidency in history. How about that? And it wasn't even by a group that would normally be supporting us. It was a group of people that I think they tend to be on the liberal side, but they said it's the most important election. The November 5th that changed it all. You have to see, well, you hear some of these numbers, but that is the most consequential election that we've ever had in our country. And what a nice thing. I'm going to start again subscribing to that particular paper.
I doubt it, by the way. It was The Atlantic, the same one where the editor-in-chief was accidentally added to a Signal chat with Mike Waltz and Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio and a bunch of other people when they were talking about bombing the Houthis. The same magazine that lied about President Donald Trump calling dead American soldiers suckers and losers. The same magazine that has perpetrated so much fraud on the United States of America, now admitting, you know what, maybe Donald Trump is the most consequential president we've ever had. He went on to talk about how in the first 3 months he's done more than Joe Biden did in 4 years, and most presidents do in their entire lifetime.
We've accomplished more in 3 months than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or even 8 years. And we're just getting started. Believe me, we're just getting started.
And of course, he talked about the border, which is consistently rated as his number one issue and his number one accomplishment in such a short period of time.
For years, Joe Biden and the media told us that stopping the flood of illegal immigration was absolutely impossible. He said it was impossible. He didn't know what the hell anybody was talking about. He said it was impossible, that the president had no power to stop what was needed in the form of legislation. He needed legislation. He had no power to get it. But it turned out that all we needed was a new president.
That's all we needed, and we got one. And now that President Donald Trump has taken over the border, now that Donald Trump has secured this country, now that Donald Trump has started to deport the millions and millions of illegal alien criminals who shouldn't have been here anyway, now the fake news media is all riled up, and they are not happy. And so they sent Terry Moran from ABC News to the White House to just get body slammed like it was some kind of wrestling match. I swear, I thought Donald Trump was Conor McGregor. As many shots as Terry Moran was taken to the face. He started off with a really ridiculous question, and it just got worse from there. He asked President Donald Trump if he was a dictator, which, by the way, no legitimate news source would ever ask a president that. But again, this isn't a legitimate news source. This is ABC News.
What do you say to people who are concerned you are seizing too much power and becoming an authoritarian president like we haven't had before?
No, I would hate them to think that. I'm doing one thing. I'm making America great again. We have a country that was failing. We have a country that was laughed at all over the world. We had a leader that was grossly incompetent. He should have never been there. The election was rigged. He should have never been there. Our country suffered greatly, and now our country's coming back like nobody can believe. I have editorials just today where they're saying they've never seen anything like it. They love it. Our country's coming back, and we're respected again.
Yeah, we are respected again. That's an important thing. We are being respected again, and that was one of the biggest problems that we had. In fact, Terry Moran asked him about that, and President Donald Trump said, look, you cannot argue the fact that this country was so disrespected under Joe Biden and that now the rest of the world looks at us as the global superpower that we are and should always be.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down? under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Why is he saying thank you, by the way? Why is that? I don't understand, Terry Moran. ABC News is one of the worst. Thank you. You're fake news. Okay, thank you. Why is he thanking the president of the United States for calling him fake news? I think probably because he has no rebuttal for that. Well, yes, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for pointing out the obvious. Then he asked President Trump, what is the number one thing of all the things you've done in the first 100 days of your presidency that you think is the most consequential, as the Atlantic would say?
What's the one thing, just one thing, that you think is the most significant thing you've done so far in these 100 days?
Well, I think maybe the border is the most significant because our country was really going bad. They were allowing people to come in from prisons, as you know, and you've heard me say it, but you've heard a lot of people say it. Prisons, mental institutions, gang members, murderers. We had many murderers, 11,888, they think. Some murdered more than one person. So you had murderers coming in, you had everybody coming in, and not just South America, from all over the world. They were emptying their prisons into our country. And now it's totally closed down. And you've seen just yesterday they announced 99.9%. Nobody thought that could happen. And it happened quickly, very quickly. And I think that's very significant. But we're doing other things that are very significant. Results will take a little bit longer because it's one of those, it's complicated. It's many years of trading abuse. We've been abused by other countries for years and years. They laughed at us. They thought we were stupid people, and we're fixing it. And I think that's going to be very, very important. But
I have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I would really say that the border is so important.
The border is important because without a border, you don't have a country. Without a border, you don't have sovereignty. Without a border, you've got illegal immigrant criminal aliens coming in and doing terrible, horrible, no good, very bad things. And Terry Moran he even suggested that President Donald Trump was successful at the border, but then questioned how he became so successful and whether or not his methods were appropriate.
And as you said, it is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline. But there are questions about your methods. And so I want to ask
about my message?
Methods. About your methods. How you're accomplishing
they seem to work.
Yeah, the question. What's the question? My methods seem to work. You just said there's a staggering decline at the border. 99.9% of border crossings are down. We're getting rid of criminal illegal aliens. The Border Patrol is effective again. The morale is up in all of these Border Patrol institutions. Yeah, the methods work. What's the question about it? Well, of course, ABC has questions about it because Donald Trump is doing the one thing that Joe Biden never could. And they're consistently concerned not about the American citizens who are being protected by the president that they elected, but they're concerned about the illegal criminal aliens who are being deported by the president that we elected.
All I can say is this: if you're going to have 21 million people, and if we have to get a lot of them out because they're criminals, we're going to have to act fast. We can't. Do you think we can give 21 million trials? Let's say each trial takes 2 weeks. Is that what you want us to do?
The law is the law, sir. The law is the law, and you're
the law doesn't say anything about trials.
No, not trials. Hearings. I said
these
hearings.
people came in. They're not citizens. They came in illegally. They came into our country illegally. We have to get them out.
There's a legal process for that.
I can't. Sure, and we follow the legal process. I can't have a trial, a major trial for every person that came in illegally. We have thousands of murderers that came in. They're going to murder people. They already have murdered people in our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out, and we have to get them out fast.
Really bad guys, but in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out.
Yeah, this is Terry Moran and the rest of ABC and the fake news not understanding the concept of the deportation laws and how when you come into the country illegally, you're treated differently than an American citizen who may or may not have broken the law. But again, that's, of course, the fake news media narrative. And that's how they continue to try to attack President Donald Trump, by protecting illegal criminal aliens who've clearly crossed the border, broken the law, and are being sent home. They don't like that. And the one they hate the most is Abrego Garcia, who Terry Moran brought up and said, look, I gotta ask you about this guy in Venezuela, Abrego Garcia.
The person that you're talking about, you're making this person sound, this is a MS-13 gang member, a tough cookie, been in lots of skirmishes, beat the hell out of his wife, and the wife was petrified to even talk about him, okay? This is not an innocent, wonderful gentleman from Maryland.
I'm not saying he's a good guy. It's about the rule of law. The order from the Supreme Court stands,
sir. He came into our country illegally.
And then he got into a debate with President Donald Trump about the tattoos on Abrego Garcia's hand, the tattoos that clearly list that he's a member of MS-13. They're gang symbols and gang signs, and they've been corroborated by ICE, by National Security Department, by FBI, by the police. Anyone and everyone who knows anything about MS-13 knows that these are the tattoos of a member. And Terry Moran claims they're Photoshopped.
He wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice.
I picked you, Terry. You're not being very nice. Terry, I picked you. This is the interview of a lifetime, and you're messing it up. MS-13 on the knuckles is interpreted with the marijuana leaf, with the snake, with the cross. I mean, there are symbols that they use as code, and all of those symbols appeared on Abrego Garcia's hand. ABC News and Terry Moran don't want you to believe that they have any other meaning other than just being decorative. Other than him just expressing himself through body art. They're a symbol and they're a marking to let people know who he is and not to mess with him. They moved on to the second most hated thing about Donald Trump's presidency, not just the deportations, but Doge and the fact that President Donald Trump, with the help of Elon Musk and the help of so many other people, is trying to save Americans money. God forbid that President Donald Trump should try to save Americans money and cut out waste, fraud, and abuse. ABC News wants none of it, and they think Doge has gone too far, too fast.
Did Doge go too far, too fast, too reckless?
No, I think Doge has saved $150 billion. We saved, that's a lot of money. There's also a lot of things right now under investigation, which is going to increase that amount by a lot. That's a tremendous amount of money. There are some things where, when I heard about them, I put them back, as you know. There are things that I'm considering right now putting back, but overall we've saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, the original promise was $2 trillion, went to $1 trillion, now to $150 billion, and heading south.
You don't know what it's going to be because we have things that are at a very high level that are being looked at right now. We also found tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, as you know. We found a lot of fraud. There was a lot of fraud. Fraudulent things were taking place, and we ended that, and those people are going to be suffering because of it.
Yeah, we ended the waste, we ended the fraud, we ended the abuse. And then ABC News, in the way that they do, started to push another false narrative and declare things that they had not corroborated and they had absolutely no knowledge about.
A legal note fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any of
Well, you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been referrals to the? Are there criminal referrals?
How would you know that there were no referrals? I think there were referrals.
They generally are. There's been no investigation from the Justice Department.
How do you know that?
I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking me. You made a statement. You're not.
Now I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There have been.
I'm asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the work of the
Of course they have been. Take a look at some of these things that took place. Billions of dollars were given to people for no reason whatsoever. Of course they have been.
This is a guy totally out of his depth. This is a guy who walked into the Oval Office thinking he was going to be able to browbeat the President of the United States. The President of the United States who's won 2 elections. Some would say 3. The president of the United States who's beaten 2 impeachments. The president of the United States who has been sued, who's been arrested, who's been charged in Georgia and in New York and in federal court in Washington, D.C., in Miami. He's had his house searched by the FBI. He's been shot in the head. There have been multiple assassination attempts against this man. And now Terry Moran from ABC News thinks he can go in and just bully President Donald Trump around. Little does he know that he's the one getting bullied. And that anytime he makes a definitive statement that he has no knowledge about, Donald Trump is right there ready, willing and able to catch him in the act, because they are fake news and that's all they know. They think that if they make a declarative statement, it's true. When the fact of the matter is, it's only true if there's facts to back it up. And he has no facts to back up his claim that Donald Trump has not referred anyone to the Justice Department for investigation for waste, fraud, and abuse because of Doge's activities and what they've been able to uncover. Something else that really got Terry Moran's panties in a wad was Donald Trump going after his political enemies by revoking their top secret clearances.
I'm asking the justification for going after people you don't like.
No. People that I think are dishonest. It's not that I don't even know most of them. They're people that I think are dishonest.
These people made you angry.
No, it's not anger. These are people that I think are very dishonest. I don't think they're worthy of being able to go into top secret information. I think that's fine. And Biden did that with many of our people. But when you look at it, these are people that I don't think are worthy. That's my decision. It's not a question of anger.
It's all about whether or not they can be trusted with our top secret State Department secrets, all the information that is of national security concerns. And Joe Biden, by the way, he took away Donald Trump's security clearances and many of Donald Trump's team members' security clearances. And Donald Trump said, look, Joe Biden is a considerable risk to our national security. Of course, I'm going to take away his security clearance.
Biden did something to me, and I did something to Biden. And you know why I did it? Because he's grossly incompetent. That's not a man that should be allowed to, be looking at things that are very confidential.
But what about,
because he didn't?
71
Here's a man that used an auto pen to sign very important documents. Now, who really is? Do you think he knew that they were using an auto pen? I mean, he used an auto pen to sign very, very important documents, and so those are really the questions you should be asking. What do you think of the auto pen? Who wielded the auto pen? Because whoever that person was, think of it, whoever the person that wielded the auto pen, he was really the president of the United States. Because I don't think that Biden knew anything about it.
Yeah, Terry Moran clearly has no. This will be his first and last interview with President Donald Trump, and I think they're both pretty thankful about that. As we head into the second 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency, we look forward to many things, including one of the biggest tax cuts in history. That's something else he promised at his rally yesterday. There's going to be more tariffs. There's going to be more battles on the economy. There's going to be more good times to come. Remember, the golden age of America has just begun.
In the coming weeks and months, we will pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and that will include no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. It's called the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it will be the biggest bill ever passed in our country's history. It will include the biggest tax cuts, regulation cuts, military supremacy, and just about everything else. We will cut more than $1 trillion in wasteful and unnecessary spending. And in the next fiscal year, it'll all be done. We're going to have something that you won't even believe. We will end inflation, slash prices. We've already ended inflation, raise wages, and give you the greatest economy in the history of the world. That's already happening. With our tax bill, the average family's take-home pay will be at least $5,000 more than it was just a couple of months ago.
That's something to celebrate right there. And of course, there is so much more to this interview. There's so much more to the rally. There's so much more that we have to cover. And that's why we have a second daily podcast, which starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. Mark Kaye saves the Republic. If you have not yet subscribed, it's really easy to do. Go to your Spotify, go to iTunes, go to wherever it is you like to listen to your podcasts. Search Mark Kaye saves the Republic. Download, listen, and enjoy.